Yo guys, what is going on? Welcome back to the locker room. Today we have a very, very special episode today because we have two special guests with me. That is right, Nick is not with me today. We have two special guests, and that is Mike Mitchelson and Chase Crawshaw from the WNP podcast. How you guys doing today?
Doing great. Thanks for having us on, Landon.
Yeah, I'm doing swell. Appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We've been wanting to do this for a while because, let's be real, talking football is a lot of fun, so
Sure is.
happy to get this done.
Absolutely, man.
A lot of stuff has happened this past week, we might say, because, wow, there's been some sad stuff, been a lot of trades going on. Bad news for the Lions, bad news for the Bengals, and bad news for the Raiders. So it's been a kind of down week for all our teams, I would say.
Best way to put it is that we are all in pain.
Yes.
Just endless amounts of pain.
Crippling, agonizing pain.
When you are a fan of the Bengals, Lions, or Raiders, more so the Bengals than the Lions because, hey, the Raiders.
More so the Lions.
The Raiders have had some success, but when you are fans of those three teams, oh boy, it's just heartbreaking, isn't it?
Every week. Every time you feel like you got something going, it's just you're right back down to bedrock.
Oh yeah.
I gotta say though, I feel bad for Chase because I feel like Chase has the worst.
Oh, dude, I don't even want to go down that road. I mean, just sitting
bad.
Here, it's really bad. 244 points against on the year.
Is that worse than the league?
Yeah.
Oh no.
It's painful. It has been hard to watch. I've been going to pretty much every game this year, and it's just not been fun.
Yeah, and DeAndre Swift kind of lost me in my fantasy game. So.
Oh
yeah, he had a tough one.
Yeah.
With
Jamal Williams out too.
Oh yeah, brutal.
I mean, like, what's going on there? It's horrible.
Yeah.
And in my other fantasy league, I lost by 1 point to a freaking kicker.
Gotta love
kickers.
that. Yeah,
That's why in my league I don't play kickers. I hate.
I was gonna say, why are you even in a league with a kicker?
Yeah.
I'm not the commissioner, and in my league I do not have kickers because kickers make me want to puke. And then 2 weeks ago, I scored 180 points in a half PPR, lost by 1.
Oh.
I've had so much bad luck in that league, and then Ridley decided to have depression. Have him in both my leagues.
Yeah.
It's tough.
I've got Calvin Ridley as well. The same league. I've got Calvin Ridley. I also have Christian McCaffrey. So that league has been going really well for me.
Oh, Nate.
Okay, there. Hey, who am I versing today or this week? You.
The guy you're about to.
And who is going to lose to the 0-8 team?
Not
you.
Me.
But with this bad luck league, I had a lot of depth at receiver, so I was really happy because I also have Antonio Brown, and his ankle injury looks very serious. So I'm not excited about that. And then Ridley's out, and now I have Marvin Jones, Crowder, and Amari Cooper.
Yeah, it's been a real tough year for fantasy. I mean, when
It has.
All the situations, whether it be injury or COVID or whatever it is, the one guy who was taken at the top of drafts that actually was able to stay healthy for a little bit was Derrick Henry, but now he goes out too. He's out for at least 6 weeks, and Chase is really feeling the pain there because he's got him in 5 different leagues.
Yeah, legitimately. I had pick anywhere from 2 to 4 in a lot of leagues, and I was like, Derrick Henry, 100%, locked and loaded. I don't care about the lack of passing work. He's just different, and he was going on a tear this year. I mean, he was scoring more than almost every other fantasy player, including quarterbacks, and now without him, one of my leagues, I have him and Clyde. Those guys are both out, so now my running backs are Boston Scott, Javonte Williams. That's it. Another league where I have Derrick Henry, Chris Carson's on IR, James Robinson's hurt, so I'm gonna have to play Zeke Elliott and Tony Pollard. That's never a deal.
That'll be fun.
So it's gonna be pretty bleak the next couple of weeks for me.
Yeah, and it's just been a horrible year for fantasy overall because, I mean, I was telling my dad before Henry got hurt this week, I'm like, I always tried to avoid taking Henry because I always thought every year when he did good and every year he was in the top of drafts, I'm like, he's going to I feel like this is his down year. This is when he's going to not perform well. This is when he's going to get hurt. I told him that on Saturday before the games happened. And then I'm like, all right, I got to take him next year because, I mean, this man is out of this world. He's not even close to the other running backs. And then he got hurt. So I feel like I jinxed him. But
yeah, it's definitely a you thing.
Yeah. And, I had a Joe Burrow jersey. Got it last year. Next game, he tore his ACL.
Oh.
Yep. Bought a Henry Ruggs shirt. That's not going well.
Oh.
I bought a Le'Veon Bell Steelers jersey. Yeah,
Gross.
he's gone. Half of my jerseys that I have, not even on the team anymore.
You probably bought a Stafford jersey a couple months ago, didn't you?
No, I bought a Calvin Johnson jersey like 4 years ago.
Oh, and then he retired. Look at that. Nice.
Yeah, so that was very tough with fantasy overall. It's just been horrible.
I've just got one request. Please do not get a Jamar Chase jersey this Christmas.
I'm not. I'm going to get a DeAndre Swift jersey.
Yes.
No, you don't need to do that.
It's between him and Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
You also don't need to do that.
Kyle Pitts.
Hayden Hurst jersey.
No, I was talking with my dad, and he goes, "How about you just get, a Mahomes jersey, a Herbert jersey,
Yeah,
like all these, a Big Ben jersey,
Oh, there you go,
Yeah.
Big Ben.
Lamar,
Good one.
get all these guys out of here." And speaking of the Kyle Pitts jersey, I want to get to some real interesting fantasy debates here.
Oh yeah.
I heard on your guys' podcast, Najee versus Pitts. Who you taking? Straight up trade. Chase said Pitts. Mikey, you said Najee. And I'm going to side with Chase on this one. I'm taking Pitts. It's really close, but I just got to take Pitts for a couple reasons. The tight end position is so rare, and you have such an advantage over everyone. Whereas as running backs, there's a lot of running backs that can do good in replace of one running back when there's not that way for tight ends. And also, if it's a dynasty league, you're going to get 4 years out of Najee Harris, maybe. You could get a good 10 out of Kyle Pitts. With Najee Harris, you've seen it every year. Going back 3 years and before that, those top 3 running back picks are non-existent. So running backs have such a short lifespan that in a dynasty league, I am taking Pitts for a good 10 years over Najee for 4 years.
Yeah, and here's how it is for me in a dynasty league. Right now, Najee Harris is probably my RB2 or 1. It's between him and Jonathan Taylor, and it's whichever guy I want to go with. It's pretty even. Where Kyle Pitts is far and above beyond my tight end 1. I would not. You would have to give me a lot in order to take him from my hands because of that advantage. It is very important in dynasty league. You look at, in our leagues, Mike, some of the teams that don't have tight ends struggle. Like you in Johnny's league, like you.
Great.
You struggle though because you could be so much better if you had a consistent, healthy tight end, wouldn't you?
I don't know.
Like you 100% would. So if you can have that consistent tight end instead of like playing Jonnu Smith this year, for example, you're lucky if he gets you 4 points a game. It's a nice piece to have, and I think I don't see anybody in college right now that can overtake Kyle Pitts as long as he can stay healthy and grow the right way as the number 1 tight end in the league in terms of that value. Whereas Najee Harris, there might be 4 or 5 college running backs currently that can take him over easily. And, that stay at the RB1 position might only be a year, might only be 2 years. But I can't even imagine it being more than 2 years.
See, what you guys are talking about right now is based on perception of the player within the certain league that you might be in. So if it's a dynasty league and you're more needy at tight end, obviously you're going to want Kyle Pitts. When you're looking at the 2 players head-to-head, though, and you're not looking at, let's say it's redraft even. If redraft, you're looking at, I can get Kyle Pitts in the 5th round. I can get good running backs there as well. Najee Harris, I'm going to have to take him in the 1st or 2nd round. Not going to be able to get as good of a tight end later on. Whatever your argument may be, if we take the 2 and put them in a vacuum, and you look at the 2, comparing them together, you look at Kyle Pitts, great tight end. Might be the tight end 1 in the league. Awesome. That's great value. But Najee Harris, with how good he's been in the receiving game, which shocked me a little bit, honestly. I thought he was a good receiver out of the backfield, but I did not think it was to this level. And then Najee also has 100% snap share on multiple games, not just one. But when you look at the season overall, I think his snap share is around 88%. So when you have a guy that's getting that much work and he's got the ability to run and catch out of the backfield, and currently is the RB, I think it's 5 or RB4 behind the 31st ranked offensive line. That just screams league winner to me. That screams a Christian McCaffrey from 2019. That screams a Derrick Henry from last year. A guy that can go above and beyond the Patrick Mahomes, the Lamar Jacksons. And if you're telling me I can get a guy like that, I'm taking that all day over a tight end 1.
You see, though, if we're talking straight Najee versus Pitts, like you have no one on your team, of course you're going to take Najee. But when in ever fantasy will you have Najee Harris as your only player versus Kyle Pitts? If we're talking about fantasy-wise, you're always going to have a solid team around unless you just draft horrible. So therefore, Kyle Pitts would be the right pick.
Yeah, I get that you would never have just one or the other on your team with no one else. But the topic that we brought up in the show was trading 1 for 1. And that's very situational based. Like, if I desperately need a tight end, maybe I would trade Najee. Let's say I've got 3-4 running backs deep. Then sure, I'll give up Najee to get that top tight end. And same the other way around. If you've got Mark Andrews behind Kyle Pitts, but you only have one running back, you're going to take Najee Harris. So I get that. But when you're looking at a 1 for 1 trade, you can't make a decision except for those factors. So if you just completely take the factors away, though, that's when you look at the true value of the player, and that's where I say Najee has more.
I'll agree with you there. I agree if it's Najee for Pitts, just straight up, one needs to perform better than the other, I'll take Najee. Like, I mean, that's just the right decision. But as I said, in this situation, it is 1 for 1, but it's just hard wrapping my mind around that it will be a 1 for 1 trade. It's just I always will feel like I would have a supporting cast around my team.
Yeah, and like you're gonna draft, Najee Harris. He's gonna be there's a good chance he is the number 1 running back taken next year in redraft. There's a very good chance he's gonna be the first round pick lock. And Kyle Pitts is someone who's not gonna be necessarily in that stratosphere. But it's just really, when it comes down to fantasy football, it really is than just 1 for 1. Like if you're looking at dynasty and just like pure value, you're just trying to get value, then sure, you can look at it through that lens. But if you're looking at it, you got to look at it as a true roster construction, and that really does vary on where things are. But just where my team is, I would rather hold on to Kyle Pitts, and pretty much most situations I would, just because like I've had a deal. I always, literally up until 2 years ago, I just played the whole stream tight end game forever in fantasy, and it was just stressful. In dynasty leagues, it obviously doesn't work because you can't really stream tight ends. You got to have 2 or 3 and hope one of them works. And now that I have, in the one league I've got Darren Waller, I had Travis Kelce in the other league. Now I've got Kyle Pitts in a league too. It just, you feel so much better about your lineup every single week. There's a lot less stress because you just know there's an elite talent in that hole compared to just someone mediocre who you're just so much relying on a touchdown.
Yeah, I can agree with that. It is nice to have that tight end to just put him in and forget it. I've got Mark Andrews in one of the leagues right now, and it's awesome. But when we're looking at the actual dynasty league where you have Kyle Pitts and I have Najee Harris, I've got Evan Ingram, who's Matt, David Njoku, who's Matt, CJ Uzama, who's Matt, a bunch of guys that I have to go through and see what I want to do when it comes to streaming them, which it can be a little stressful. But at the same time, when I have a roster that boasts Nick Chubb, Joe Mixon, Najee Harris, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, Stephon Diggs, like that takes a lot of stress off of me to the fact where if I play a tight end, he only puts up 4 points, I'm okay, because as long as those guys don't dud, my team's going to be putting up over 120 points.
And like when my team's healthy, that's another thing too. Like I have all that depth, so like I don't have to worry about it. So in that league, I can really just worry about how I feel that value is and how I feel that roster construction would be. Like if Waller were to go out, I would want Kyle Pitts in instead of I have Jawan Johnson as my other guy right now. Whereas if I have Najee and he went out, I still have Derrick Henry, Ezekiel Elliott when Chris Carson's healthy, James Robinson. Like I've got all these guys that are top 20 for running backs, maybe even all top 18 running backs. So like I don't have to worry about anything. So in my situation, it really is just give me that tight end, and it just could be a good leverage piece down the road too.
Yeah, so it's very situational, and we respect your opinion whichever way you go. But when it comes down to it, if you just put them in a vacuum and look at their overall value, I think that Mike was absolutely right. He's both of you in this debate, and it's going to be Najee.
I asked my dad the same question, and he goes, "Oh yeah, I'm taking Pitts." I don't know. Me and him just got the Florida, go Florida, but
oh yeah, that's definitely it. Now that
no,
that's it.
I forgot Florida fans.
I know,
it's so random.
Hey, well, they've got 3 losses, so we got to be nice. They're no Michigan State sitting at number 3 in the in college football right now.
I gotta say, for college football, that was probably the worst rankings I've seen.
Yeah,
the opening rankings.
Yeah, I mean, I feel so bad for Cincinnati.
The Bengals? Yeah, me too, man.
Them too.
But
boy.
In reality, like the Cincinnati Bearcats, the real Cincinnati team we care about, they're always gonna get that disrespect being in that Group of 5 school. Until they throw a Power 5 school or two of real recognition on their roster, they're never gonna be able to get that love just because how the bias exists in that college football playoff committee. So next year, I know it's hard to do, but next year, maybe the following year, try to schedule, even if someone just like a USC, someone who is not necessarily a pure powerhouse anymore, but is still an established name and is still a perennial contender to at least be ranked every single week. If they can play a team like that and then beat them, established dominance, then there's no excuse to not have them as one of those top teams.
And they need multiple because they had Notre Dame this year, which they had a close victory over them, which is great, and it's much better than a Texas A&M loss like Alabama had, but somehow Alabama's up top there. Joel Klatt had a lot of good things to say on the Coward Show today, talking about how we need to expand the playoffs so that the committee itself doesn't BS their way to their rankings, because everyone knows that if Bama played Cincinnati right now, that Bama would clobber them.
Yeah.
However, you have to BS your way to Bama sitting at number 2 and Cincinnati sitting at number 6 because you want the best game. It does not make sense to have a team that's undefeated and beat a top 10 team out of the top 4, but to have a team that lost to the number 15 or 16, whatever Texas A&M is, be in the top 2. So it makes no sense. It's BS. Just expand the playoffs to 12 already.
Agreed.
Yeah, the big thing is in college football, if you have a loss, losses usually are affected heavily in your rankings, but this year it is not. If you look at Oregon, they lost to an unranked Stanford, they're still in the top 4. Alabama, sure they're Alabama, but they lost to Texas A&M, they're still in the top 4. And then you have Cincinnati, who's 8-0, who's not in there, it's just with them defecting the losses and not having a loss is a big deal. That shows that they don't care about your undefeated season. So it's just sad to see Cincinnati. I think they have a great team, and I feel like they could put up a fight with some good teams, but we'll never know because college football does not like them.
I think they could put up a fight against the Oregon and Michigan States, but if it were
they would get clobbered by Georgia.
Ohio State, I think they're getting smoked.
Georgia is the only real competition to beat Georgia is Bama, maybe Ohio State. No matter who Georgia plays, because Georgia's going to finish as one, especially if they can beat Bama in the SEC championship.
Yeah,
they're going to finish as one. No matter who they play in that 4 seed, it does matter. It's a 4-score game.
Yeah, I think that there's a very considerable top 3, and the rest are all just watching on.
Yeah, but the thing is with Georgia, it's they only put their offense did not look good against Florida because they had their defense, Florida turned it over within the 10-yard line. That's when they scored. And then they threw a pick 6 to end the game, to start the second half. And then they scored 2 times. So 13-0. It's 13-0 without those turnovers. So I feel like Bama can get that offense going against Georgia. I feel like Bama can definitely beat Georgia.
I think that if JT is healthy, then it'll be much better for Georgia because Stetson Bennett was playing then, and he's been playing a lot recently, which is okay. He's getting the wins, but I think when it comes to playmaking ability, JT's got it. So if it's JT Daniels and then a healthy supporting cast, then I think it'll be a real shootout in that SEC championship.
Yeah. That would just be interesting to see how everything plays out with college football. But we're going to move on now, and we're going to talk about the trade deadline that just passed for the NFL. A lot of big news going around, a lot of trades, a lot of interesting tweets that have gone out by players' fathers.
Yeah.
And first, before we get to OBJ, let's talk about Von Miller heading to the Rams for some draft picks. The Rams traded for him for some draft picks, and this Rams defense looks so scary, I must say. I do not want to be in the way of them because they are a train that's not going to stop. Is LA now easily the best defense in football?
I mean, like, you got to say so. I mean, they have to be the favorites at this point to win the Super Bowl, especially if Von Miller can seamlessly fit into this defense. Like, I think he'll be able to. Maybe week 1 here, like, he'll have a little bit of adjustment period, but, going forward, it should, be fine at that point. But, I mean, how do you not say this is the most potent defense when you have 3, like, all pro caliber players, and Aaron Donald, now Von Miller, then, of course, Jalen Ramsey. Then you go to the offense, you have Matthew Stafford throwing the ball to Cooper Kupp, who's on pace to set records. Robert Woods is still an elite receiver. Darrell Henderson's been playing great. You have all this going for you. Like, there's no hole in this team anymore. And, even where, like, the pass rush wasn't even a hole. It's now just even bolstered at this point with Von Miller. So, like, it has to be, looked at as probably the best constructed defense in the league, one of the best constructed offenses in the league, and just the best constructed team in the league.
And when I saw the trade, I was ecstatic because I got the Rams defense, and I happened to reach early for the Rams defense because I thought they'd be the number 1 defense. Right now, ranked number 11 in fantasy, so that isn't awesome. But when it comes to the personnel and the actual football defense compared to the fantasy aspect of defense, this is the team to beat. The Rams are scary, and for a second and a third, I don't think it's bad. I think Von Miller still has some juice left. Denver got what they could, and the Rams, they don't really care about picks because they're going for it all.
Yeah, agreed, because the Rams are definitely in win now mode, and if they don't win within these next 3 years, they have a rough future ahead because they have no picks. They'll have nearly no cap because with all these players that they're signing. And it's actually a similar situation to, I feel like, the Packers, because if you win the Super Bowl, Rodgers will stay, but Rodgers most likely gone next year, and then Devontae Adams most likely going to Vegas next year,
Yeah.
Got to team up with Derek Carr. And then you're also going to be paying a running back top money. And you never want to do that to a running back, especially when if the Packers do rebuild, if they're in a rebuilding phase. That's why if the Raiders pay Josh Jacobs, I will be so upset because I don't like the idea of paying a running back a lot of money because running back is it's the most replaceable position in football, no doubt. So why pay a running back top dollar when you can just replace him like that?
I would have paid Josh Jacobs 2 years ago, but I mean,
not now.
He has not been the Josh Jacobs I think everyone expected him to be coming in.
But that's not really his fault. It's more on fault.
Line.
Yeah, more on fault of the Raiders team and then the offensive scheming around him. It's just not giving him the opportunity to succeed. They need to use him like how he is actually meant to be used. He's usable in all facets of the game, not just running on first and second down.
Even if that is the case, he still hasn't been an efficient enough running back to warrant an extension. I think the only guys that you can look at and be like, yeah, they need extensions are those true playmakers like Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, Dalvin Cook, and in 5 years from now, Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
Bijan's great. He's so talented. And what's his face? Walker from Michigan State. I bet you he'll be getting paid in a couple of years.
K9?
Yeah, I mean, I think Kenneth Walker. So I did a mock draft the other day, and I had him going as the second running back off the board, and which was the end of the second round. No running backs went until the end of the second round in my mock draft. So, like, Kenneth Walker, he's got an opportunity to maybe succeed in the NFL, but we don't even know if he's can be an all-purpose back because he doesn't get any targets at Michigan State the way they run that offense. So even a guy like him, he could be an absolute elite runner, but if he's not like getting receiving work, then he's not going to be all-purpose, and he's not even worth like really paying at that point.
And that's the thing with Josh Jacobs is because as soon as Gruden was gone, we started getting Josh Jacobs involved with the pass game, and he was getting like 50 receiving yards a game. which I liked because he's not a bad pass catcher.
Yeah, I mean, he's a pretty solid one coming out of college, and he just never got used that way.
Yeah, and I totally blame Gruden for that because I'll tell you, Gruden is a okay coach, but he is a god-awful, horrible play caller.
Yeah.
Our red zone offense, 32 in the league last year. His play calling is so bad in that with Rich Bisaccia, and now we got Greg Olson calling the plays. I think this offense is running a lot smoother and a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, the teams looked better since Gruden left. And Derek Carr, who already looked phenomenal under Gruden, he's been better too. So
MVP.
Yeah, going 31 for 34.
Yeah, Derek Carr is back to his form. I think it was in his second or third year when he won me a championship in fantasy. So I love to see it.
Yeah, I love seeing Derek Carr succeed. I'm going to knock on wood. I'm not saying he's back because every time I say something, it goes the opposite way.
Hey, do you have a Derek Carr jersey?
I do.
Okay, well, I'm going to get you another one.
I got it 4 years ago.
Oh, is that when he freaking had the MVP season?
No, that was after.
Oh, okay.
I think I got it that off season.
Nice.
Gotcha.
Then we went 6-10. So yeah.
Tough.
Yeah. They're never consistent. I'm just expecting it at this point. Expect us. I guarantee you, we end 8-2, and then we're gonna end 8-9. That's just how it's gonna go. It's how it always goes with the Raiders. Moving on, we have Melvin Ingram heading over to Kansas City for some draft picks. What do you guys think about this trade?
Yeah, I don't have an issue with it. It didn't really work out in Pittsburgh. Obviously the team is not really playing to expectations, so he can go to the Chiefs, who really need to kind of figure their stuff out because things have been kind of ugly thus far in the year. You know, right now it's sitting at 4-4. The Chiefs do not expect to be in this position. You know, it's going to happen. You're never going to have great years every year. You're bound to have down years. Mahomes, you know, his physical abilities aren't really saving him anymore. The defenses are able to catch on and kind of figure it out. So you got to figure out different ways to win. So Mahomes needs to be a little more conservative. And then now that the defense has, you know, a pass rusher to maybe help, you know, put a little more pressure on and become a sounder defensive group because they're horrendous. This could help out the team going forward. They really need to do some soul searching, you know, not just on offense, but defense too, because the defense really is bad.
I think it'll add a little burst on the defensive line. He's not the Melvin Ingram from 3 years ago. That was with the Chargers, but he's still got a little bit left in him. However, if you're going to go out and try to rehaul the defense, this isn't the one move that fixes it. You know, the defense is one of the worst in the league right now. So, I mean, will it help? Maybe in third down situations if he can get to the quarterback, but I think really it's kind of a minuscule move.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, it will give a little burst to the defensive line, but overall, it's not going to get you that much. I mean, it'll get you a little bit of more pressure on the quarterback, but what's the point of getting a good defense if your offense isn't scoring much? I mean, teams have figured out Patrick Mahomes. You put 3 linemen on the line and you drop back in coverage. That's all you have to do, and Mahomes will throw picks. Because if you look at it, name the amount of times you have seen Mahomes just throw a quick ball, not including screen, just a quick ball. You barely ever see it. You see him rolling out, trying to make the flashy plays. And now it's catching up to him, and it's costing him, and him getting too risky. He's finally getting that bad luck that I've always been wanting to see.
You've been wanting to see. Nice. I think real quick before Chase says anything, he's just a more talented Sam Darnold. He can't control the ball. He's got so many turnovers right now. He's looking to mix between Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold. So that's a great thing to see from him.
The Panthers.
Okay.
All
right, real quick on Patrick Mahomes. You know, he does like to have patience and tries you know use that deep threat ability because he has so many talented weapons to do it. Like, you know, Tyreek Hill and Mecole Hardman are 2 just deep threat type guys, and he wants to throw that way. But now that, you know, they're 4-4, I think they're really going to take some time and think about what they need to do and adjust that offense properly. So, you know, we even saw against the Giants where like for the longest time, his longest throw of the game was like 12 yards. It's finally ended up being like 26 yards. He was throwing a lot more underneath. He was throwing, you know, quicker routes, and it was being a little more impactful. So, you know, he just got to keep doing that because literally all teams have done is leave 5 players in the defensive backfield. It's all that they've done, and it's cost, you know, him to find Tyreek Hill on a streak, and all of a sudden it just cuts right to the middle of the field, and he gets open for that type of play every single time. Where now that you have that fifth defensive back, especially in like zone coverage, like everything's covered up, and Mahomes just kind of doesn't know what to do. So they're kind of realizing that they're opening up more underneath. They're worrying about that because the teams are leaving that exposed. So they're going to be a lot more of just kind of like an air raid version of like a ground and pound almost. It's going to be a lot more short yardage. It's going to be kind of like what Tom Brady does with, but they're going to do a little more deep downfield, I would think. But I think that the Chiefs are still going to be a playoff team going forward. I think that Andy Reid is too smart of a coach to not be able to figure this out, and Mahomes is too talented to not be able to get over it. So, the steps that we saw in the Giants game, even though it was still underwhelming, it was a step in the right direction.
Yeah, I mean, he did look. After that interception, he played pretty well. I will say he was reading, but as Mikey said on the podcast, on your guys' podcast, I think one of you said it, is that he didn't learn how to read a defense till like a year ago.
Yeah,
so,
that was me. I mean, like he still probably doesn't know how to read it that well, honestly, which is like why throwing that fifth defensive back there, it causes him to panic, I think.
Just like Sam Darnold.
No.
That's a great comparison.
Thank you.
That is a great comparison. I must say that.
Just a more athletic, talented version of Sam Darnold.
Yes. And an athletic Sam Darnold is not a good Sam Darnold.
Right.
And moving on after the Chiefs, let's talk Odell. I mean, his dad posted a video saying all the times Mayfield didn't throw him the ball when he was wide open. And I looked at the time. I didn't watch the video, but I looked at the time. That video was 11 minutes long. So I'm imagining there was a lot of plays in there. So OBJ, the Browns aren't considering him as a part of the team anymore. They can't trade him anymore, and they're saying that they're not going to release him. So I'm guessing he's just going to sit out. So, but if he does get released or next offseason, what are some great teams that you think he could fit in with a great offense?
I think that you could go a couple of different places. The Raiders, they just had an opening at receiver, so that could be a spot.
We'll get to that later.
I think that I talked about it on our show that we recorded today. I honestly think that OBJ and Michael Thomas as well, they are done basically when it comes to their prime. I think they're more going to be like a wide receiver 3 on a team. And you said you didn't watch the 11-minute video. I happened to watch like 2 minutes of it. It is crazy how many times OBJ was wide open and Baker just overlooked him, or even there were times where he looked right at him and just didn't throw the ball. So I get the complaint that's happening there, and I'd like to see OBJ have some success because, hey, I thought he was overrated with the Giants, but then when he moved teams and now he's with Baker not getting it done, it's sad because he had a lot of talent. So I'm hoping that he finds a new place, whether that be the Raiders or maybe the Packers. He could be a guy that could come in and get something done on a cheap deal. I don't know. There's teams out there that'll take a chance on him.
And I think that New England would be a very nice fit for him. It gives Mac Jones another target, and I just feel like him and Belichick would just click. And sure, he's got a mouth, but I mean, his talent in New England, I can see that being a real problem for opposing defenses.
And he doesn't even have like a mouth this year. He's been like pretty quiet this year. He hasn't really complained. He hasn't complained publicly at all. I saw a quote that really bothered me. A reporter asked Baker Mayfield, would you like OBJ to apologize to you? He said, yeah, that would be nice if there were to be a discussion, but there hasn't been. What do you want him to apologize for? He's not said anything. His dad goes out and makes this video. OBJ is sitting there in silence. Only like 17 catches or something on the year. Like, you're not targeting him. He's clearly frustrated. He's too talented to get that little work. He's going to be mad, but he's not done anything. He's not gone out and say, oh, Baker's hosing me. He's screwing me over. He's not looking my way. No, he hasn't done any of that. He goes and asks the team politely for a trade or a release. They told him no. They said they're just going to keep him on the roster and let him sit out the year because they know he'd be too beneficial on another team. I don't – this whole situation really bugs me because he's done, everything as right as he can in this situation. But – in terms of where I'd like to see him go, if he were to have been traded, I would have liked to, like, a team like the Giants, for example. They're just running through receiving options right now. I know he just left the Giants and probably doesn't want to go back there, but like if he was open to that opportunity and he could go back there, like there would be a legitimate chance, him and Daniel Jones could link up and be a decent option, especially without Kenny Galladay. but I know that's not really realistic. So, I mean, other than that, you look at, as was mentioned, the Raiders, the Chiefs could always add another option up front, but I don't know if they have the money for that. But there's really, it's like the only team I could really truly see trading for him, like in season, would have been like the Giants or the Lions if they could have gotten for cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would have been very fun to see him go to Lions, honestly, but although he probably wouldn't have done that good because, Goff's kind of trash.
No, they shouldn't have a quarterback. Just run Wildcat at this point.
Hey, speaking of quarterback, real quick, I just got an update that Greg Rosenthal, he produced his NFL QB index, and Derek Carr, he sits at number 6, which is awesome. Joe Burrow, number 10, above Patrick Mahomes at number 11. But the one thing that really got me going is coming in at 21, you have Mike White above Jimmy Garoppolo.
Yes.
Put him above Jared Goff, Sam Darnold, and Trevor Lawrence and Justin Fields are sitting at 31 and 32 respectively. Gotta love it.
It's one game. Let's pump the brakes.
Dude, Mike White blew out a top 10 defense. So
yeah, top 10 defense.
I mean, they were coming into that game.
Yeah,
but after that game, you know how many fantasy points you guys lost me on that? Picking up on waivers.
Right.
Yeah, I had the Bengals defense in every league that I have defenses.
I thought Johnny had maybe it was you then.
Or no, I don't have them in my league actually.
Yeah.
That's right. I think I have like the Bills in my league.
Yeah, Johnny had them against me, and I had the Rams. But then the Rams, they were up 38-0 on who was it?
Texans.
Yeah.
And then it went to 38-20 or whatever.
The Texans backdoor covered the spread on that game in the fourth quarter.
Yeah.
Awesome.
It was a nightmare.
Yeah. I was hoping, I'm like, bro, what if they come back? That would be really funny. Because I always, whenever see a team like that, like the Lions 49ers game, I'm like, what if they come back? You always have that thought in your mind. It never ends up happening, but, it's fun to hope.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then, probably the worst, not the worst news, the biggest news was Derrick Henry out 6 to 10 weeks and the Titans signing Adrian Peterson. How do you think signing Adrian Peterson will help, or do you think it's going to be McNichols in that starting role?
It's going to be Adrian Peterson to an extent. So Mike Vrabel came out and said the team is not changing their offense. They are keeping everything exactly the same. Their game plan is not changing. They're going to find a way to make it work. So at that rate, Adrian Peterson's the only really running back that's out there as a free agent that can compare to what Derrick Henry does. Just a downhill runner, bruising type guy, willing to take a little bit of abuse. Jeremy McNichols is a great pass receiving running back, but he's not a workload type guy. So I imagine it's going to be like a 60-40 type split where 60% of the work's going to go to AP, and then 40 to McNichols. He's still going to have to get some more carries because AP can't just get like 85% of the carries. Like, he's not going to hold up. So I imagine him getting a lot of work, but I don't think it's going to be very efficient. With the Lions, he was under 4 yards a carry. Even with the Titans and how they build their run offense, I still wouldn't be surprised if he's under 4 yards a carry because he's old, he's slow, he lacks burst, he doesn't have a cut anymore. He just is still super strong, so he's able to break a couple tackles. He's really going to have to, be one of these leaders at this point in the season going forward and like broken yards if he wants to be able to do anything.
Trash take. Just trash. We're going to see the 2008 Adrian Peterson coming in.
36 years old.
Yes, we're going to see the prime Adrian Peterson. He
hasn't practiced all year.
We're going to see the GOAT at running back come in, and Adrian Peterson is going to light the league on fire. Hot take, Adrian Peterson, first overall pick in redraft next year.
Absolutely not.
Adrian Peterson will be the Lions. Adrian Peterson. That's who he'll be. He'll occasionally, at the 1 yard line, he'll get the touchdown, and then, everyone will go fantasy crazy for him.
Yeah, the guy who vultured all the touches from DeAndre Swift because he's just better than DeAndre Swift.
That guy? Mean because idiot and was just like DeAndre Swift? No, we just took you with a high pick, but we don't want to play you.
Well, Matt Patricia was a really good coach. You forget about that.
Oh yeah, I do forget about that.
I think Matt Patricia should be nominated for Coach of the Year.
I agree. Honestly, if you put him and Hugh Jackson head to head,
no, John Gruden, man.
Well, I mean, if we're looking at middling coaches, then you put up John Gruden versus Jeff Fisher.
Yes. But I want to say Adrian Peterson last year, his stat line for the Lions was 156 carries, 604 yards, 7 touchdowns. That type of average could happen. He could find the end zone most weeks realistically because they could throw the ball to AJ Brown, Julio Jones, just get downfield. And when you get inside that 10, just keep feeding Adrian Peterson the ball. That could be what they do because they could realize very quickly that running the ball is not going to work. So he could have a low yardage, decent touchdown type of stat line, but he's not going to do anything out of this world.
Crazy.
I mean,
he's not putting up Derrick Henry numbers.
That is if Julio actually plays.
Well, that's good.
Holy shit! Get on the field, dude.
No, don't play this week because I'm playing Derrick and he's got him on his team. So don't have Julio play this week.
Nice.
Yeah, Derrick's team is flooded with injuries. He has Russ, he has Montgomery, he has OBJ. His team is just.
Why would you draft OBJ?
I don't know, man.
Derrick must need some help with fantasy.
I know. I mean, his team is rough. If I lose to him, I will go into a coma. I will be so sad. I mean, he's got Devontae Parker as his wide receiver too, Allen Robinson. I mean, Noah Fant out with COVID. Odell out. He is Barkley, who I traded to him. Yeah, his team is a hospital.
Yeah.
His team is a hospital for sure.
Brutal.
And now we'll move on to probably one of the biggest subjects around the entire NFL right now. And Henry Ruggs decided to go out for some drinks, I should say. Hops in his Corvette, is going 156 miles an hour, and he hits the rear end of a car at 127 miles an hour, hits the gas tank, car goes up in flames. He gets a DUI resulting in death and could be facing 2 to 20 years in prison. As a Raiders fan, I was heartbroken. When you guys heard this news, what was your instant reaction and how did you feel?
I mean, I was kind of surprised. You don't really, you don't never know how you're going to react when you see news like that because it's just so sudden, so tragic, so out of nowhere. And you see TMZ reporting it at first, and you get a little fishy because TMZ's a weird source, but TMZ's usually right more often than not. So you see that there's a crash first. You hope, I hope that.
Because
okay.
When I first heard it, I didn't have any explanation. I heard that Henry Ruggs in a serious car crash, one person's dead. I'm like, oh my God, did Henry Ruggs just die?
Yeah, that's what I thought happened too. Then you find out more about it, and then I'm
like, oh.
You just feel heartbroken for this young girl's family.
Yeah,
I mean,
prayers out to her family. That's a horrible thing to happen.
Yeah, Henry Ruggs decided to be selfish. He decided, 22 years old, I am an adult. I am legally allowed to drink alcohol. I can make this decision. I have made the decision to drink too much and then go for a ride and put other people's lives in jeopardy and took the life of a young woman and her dog. And really, as I said, it's a selfish, conscious, subconscious, I should say, almost decision. You limit your abilities to do things and your ability of rational thinking when you have alcohol. But at the end of the day, common sense is something that still exists, at least when I have alcohol in my system, and that is something that I would never do. So I don't feel. Yeah, you've got the money, you can pay for it. I've seen somewhere before that the NFL has a free ride share service as well too, so he could have gotten a free ride. So there really is no excuse. It's very disappointing, very sad for the family. We're thinking about them, but Henry Ruggs deserves to be punished.
Absolutely. First and foremost, the biggest message that needs to come across from every person talking about the subject is that thoughts and prayers do go to the family of the victim, because losing someone so young, so sudden has to be the hardest thing anyone could ever go through. I've got no idea how that feels. I've never been through it, thank the Lord, but I couldn't imagine. Chase and I right now are both 23. The young woman was 23. So if just one of us got wiped off the earth tomorrow, that would be incredibly painful for everyone that is in our lives. So it's so sudden. Thoughts and prayers out to the family. The one thing that got me really angry was the fact that he was going 157 while over double the limit of alcohol in his system. It was so absurdly stupid that he deserves whatever he gets. And he's being charged with two things, like you said, DUI resulting in death, but also reckless driving. So if he gets convicted of both, the minimum he would get is 3 years. The maximum he would get would be 26. So if you make a statement and put him behind bars for, 20 plus years, so be it. I mean, he chose to not only get in the car when he's drunk, but also go 157 miles per hour. The fastest I think a car can like legitimately go out there. That's just, a car you can get at a dealership. It's freaking insane. That the fastest I've ever driven my car is like 88 miles per hour. And that was crazy. It was to the point where my steering wheel started to shake. So I can only imagine what double that would be like.
Yeah. And the big thing with it is I've never been drunk, obviously, but
right. I'm kidding.
I've heard that you still have the common sense to know I cannot drive.
Yeah. Oh, easily.
So it's just crazy because he makes that one decision, and it puts not only the threat of the person who's died lives, but everyone who was on the sidewalk, everyone else who was on the road's lives at risk. So you're not only risking their lives, you're risking 2,000 other lives. It's just a horrible decision, and Ruggs will have to live with what he did. And another thing is, I heard reports that they found an illegal firearm loaded in his car.
Yep.
Which really concerns me. Because it's like, I always thought Ruggs was a good dude, but like, was there this other side to him? I have no clue what was going on with Ruggs. And it's sad, especially for the victim, but he's no longer a part of the Raiders. They released him late last night, I believe. So,
and he's done with football. Like,
easy.
I don't see a way that he somehow makes it back.
This isn't no Josh Gordon situation.
Even if it's, let's just say he gets the minimum of 3 years, like, I still just don't see there being the ability of him coming back.
Yeah, and it's also sad because he was kind of in the middle of his breakout year. Yeah. I mean, he already had 450 yards. That's already more than he had last year. He had 2 touchdowns. He would have easily gotten over 1,000 yards if he continued up that pace. So, I mean, you lose a great player, but more importantly, a family loses a loved one, and that's just horrible. So, yep. Ruggs should have to live with what he did, and it's not right at all. Okay, now let's move on to another sad topic. Bengals losing to the Jets to Mike White, MVP of the league. Hot take right now. What are your thoughts, Mikey?
Well, look at the time. I gotta go. No, I mean, I think it's really frustrating, really annoying. The one thing that came up in my mind was coming into this game, I'm like, we already played our trap game. Our trap game was against the Lions, and we destroyed them. We're versing the Jets without their starting quarterback. This is not a trap game. This is an easy win. Didn't happen to be the case. And all that was going through my head was, how is this happening? This isn't the Marvin Lewis era. This isn't Andy Dalton, A.J. Green, Vontaze Burfict, and Pac-Man Jones. This isn't that team. This is Joe Burrow. This is Jamar Chase, Jesse Bates, Logan Wilson. This is not the same team. Why is the same shit happening? So it was really frustrating. And I'm obviously upset about it, but at the same time, I don't think that's like an everyday occurrence that's going to happen. I don't think that the Bengals are now going to lose out or only get 1 or 2 wins. I think that's just a sidestep and what could still be a pretty solid season for them.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it's you guys had that game won too, but then the interception happened. Which what should you have? I just saw the interception. I wasn't looking at the time. Was it a right time to pass, or should you have ran the ball?
I think that you continue to pass the ball when you're the Bengals. You've got one of the best passing games, or at least when you have Joe Burrow and the weapons. Continue to be aggressive downfield. I think there's about 4 minutes left in the game. Did you need to pass it? No. But I think the one thing the Bengals fall into a lot, and it's happened within the Packers game, it also happened with the Bears, is they get too conservative early on, and then they have to make up the big difference. Or in other games, they have the lead, but then they get too conservative and they start to blow the lead. So I was not happy with them just running the clock out when we only had I think a 4-point lead with only 4 minutes left. So I was happy with it. It just ended up being a batted ball at the line of scrimmage, and then it resulted in an interception.
Yeah, and that's how I feel like all of Joe. I feel so bad for him because all of his interceptions are off the hands of receivers or tip balls in the air. At least 5 of them are. And
I think that when it comes to balls that are batted down at the offensive or at the defensive line and then they get intercepted, that's on the offensive line. They got to be more aggressive. They got to be able to push back the defensive line enough to not let them be able to get, 2 feet up in the air and get the ball. So I think the offensive line, they still have some work to do. Joe Burrow, he's still a young quarterback. He's only played 18 games, I believe it is. So he really just finished his first season. I think there's a lot of promising things here. I just think that they are going through that growing up stage.
Yeah, and I still think the Bengals are a great team, no doubt about it.
Thank you.
Huh?
I said thank you. Thank you very much.
I still think they're a good team. I'd have them in my top 12, easy, because coming up, they were in my top 5, but
look at that,
then
you downgraded them. Ouch, that hurts.
The loss to the Jets.
Ooh, top 10.
They're safely in my top 10. I just don't know exactly where I'd put them.
At number 6 next to the Panthers.
Got him.
Speaking of power rankings, I'm going to hop into mine. 32, we got the Lions. Chase, how do you feel about that?
I surprised you didn't put them lower, to be honest. I mean, like
I would have put Georgia at 32.
Yeah, I might rank Georgia ahead of the Lions at this point. Like I don't really have anything to say anymore. I've said everything that can be said. It just at this point, I made this proclamation at the game. Going forward, every Lions game that I watch, I know they're going to lose, especially since they lost the Eagles in that fashion. I know they're going to lose. I know they're going to be worse than whoever they play in every single aspect of the game. So anytime that they make a bad play, I expected it. But anytime that they make a good play, I can just be happy because there's signs of progress for next year. So I am all on board for them to go 0-17. I'm prepared for it. I am mentally ready for it. If they do it, I'm not going to be mad anymore. It is what it is. I've accepted that reality. But if they happen to squeeze out a win or two, I'm just going to be even happier.
I mean, that was your winnable game, I feel like.
Yeah,
against the Eagles, that was the winnable game. After that loss, I took the Lions against the Rams. You didn't take them with me, even though I heard Mikey say that you said at the Lions game you would take them.
You did.
I was so ready to. But then I watched the Lions in person, and then I watched the Rams on TV, and was like, okay, I can't do this.
I was watching that first quarter, and I'm like, Chase should have took him.
Mm-hmm.
And then I watched the fourth quarter, and then I'm like, they suck.
Right decision.
And I will say this year I'm not taking the Lions ever again. I don't care who they're playing because getting embarrassed by the Eagles, who aren't even really a great football team. I mean, that's just uncalled for. Was it 41-7?
It was 44-6. It was.
Jeez.
Horrible.
Jeez. That's bad.
Hey,
so what would you say worse? Bengals losing to the Jets or the Lions losing 44-6?
The Bengals losing to the Jets. The Lions came in as underdogs. The Bengals came in as double-digit favorites, and no one had the expectation of the Lions beating the Eagles. Everyone had the expectations of the Bengals beating a second-string quarterback-led Jets.
But people didn't know that Mike White was an MVP-level quarterback yet. But people know that Jalen Hurts.
That's the thing, though. If he's playing this week, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is he going to keep up that performance? Is he going to do that well?
Yeah, absolutely not.
He's actually going 507 this week.
Absolutely.
I have him going 650-9.
Ooh, I like that.
He might crack 200 yards.
I'll take that bet. I bet you he goes for over 250.
250? All right, I'll take that bet.
All right. There we go. 25 cents.
All right, beautiful.
A whole quarter?
Yeah, I got to make sure I can that.
'Tis the season. And it's November. It's finally Christmas time.
Yes.
That's also great.
Hey, I'm normally someone who is very against like Christmas music being played before Thanksgiving because I love Thanksgiving. It's one of my favorite holidays. I think it's horribly underrated. But this year, I've decided I need a little more jolly in my life.
Yes,
I'm not going to actively be playing Christmas music, but if I hear it, I will feel indifferent about it. I will listen to it and sing along.
There you go.
As soon as it hit midnight on Halloween, I was jamming. There's not all I want for Christmas. I was jamming out. It was amazing. Finally time to go to Walmart or Target and hear Christmas music. That's the best.
Yeah, I'm prepared for it.
Yeah, and for your gift for Christmas, Chase, I will pray that the Lions get a win for you.
I had to turn that off. Sorry, I didn't want you to get copyrighted.
And
yeah. I'll take it though. Appreciate it.
Yeah. So the Lions are gonna have probably the number one pick in the draft. So let's get into some draft talk. This is the segment we do on the show. We each pick a college player, and we talk about them and why we think that they are going to be a great player in the NFL. So I'm going to have Chase go first, since, Chase, you will most likely have the first pick in the draft. So go for it.
This is the guy that Chase wants the Lions to take first overall.
No, it is not.
Yes, it is.
This guy, I would love the Lions to get their second or first round pick, 100%.
First overall.
Wait, can I make a guess on who it is?
Sure.
What's his face? I forgot his name.
What is his face?
Ole Miss quarterback.
Matt Corral?
Yeah, Matt Corral.
It is not Matt Corral. I thought about going quarterback in the second, but I figured
Spencer Rattler.
No,
absolutely not. That's undraftable. I decided that I want to go wide receiver in the segment.
Ooh.
And my number one wide receiver in this class, the only thing that can change it is the combine. And with that guy is Treylon Burks, wide receiver out of Arkansas, 6'3", 225. He's got this alpha size. He is going to run a 4.4 40, possibly even quicker than that. If he runs slower, it's because he's hurt or something else is going on. But his game speed is very much unmatched. It's one of the best game speeds in college football. It would translate very easily to the NFL. He has very strong flexibility. Like he's used pretty heavily in the slot at Arkansas, but that's because the quarterback play, that's really where they need to get the ball. When he's been used on the outside, he's able to get separation. He's able to go up and win contested catches. He'll really be useful wherever you want to use him in the NFL. But I think he would be much better as a perimeter guy because it gives you just more variety in what you can do with his routes and how you can try to win with him. So if a team uses him, as their X receiver, he can go be your number one target. You can throw him the ball 130 times a year. He can come up with big play catches. He's really the only receiver in this draft class that I think has true number one wide receiver ability, in my opinion. I love all these athletic tools. He just needs to really, once he gets to the NFL, wherever they want to use him as a receiver, just really focus on developing those, the routes that are specific to that position and just kind of strengthen it because it could improve a little bit.
Although, if he goes to the Lions,
could be another wasted Calvin.
Well, no, because what's happening is, number one is Kayvon Thibodeau. And then 32, because the Rams win the Super Bowl, is going to be Treylon Burks, excuse me. And then 33 is going to be Malik Willis because he falls to the Lions there. So they take him on day 2 so they don't have to pay him day 1 money, which is the smart move.
But then they can't 5-year.
That's okay. I'd rather not
pay him early.
I don't care because there's a decent chance that he busts. So you might as well use the second round pick and then you try to pay him 1 year earlier if he's that good. You're okay with doing that as a team. So at that point, then you just get Malik Willis who can throw the ball downfield unlike Jared Goff, and you're good to go.
And I have to say, when it comes to Treylon Burks, he is also my wide receiver one.
Yeah,
I know a lot. I know a lot at this moment. It might change when we start doing our prospect preview and our full draft coverage. But I know a lot of people love Wilson and Olave from Ohio State, but
they don't do it for me.
Like Treylon Burks is got the prototypical size you would want from a big receiver on the outside, but he's even been doing like wide receiver sweeps and everything and still getting the job done. So I really like that player.
I can move.
Yep, he can move. And Mikey, you are up with your player because we all know the Bengals are not picking before the Raiders. Or they are picking before the Raiders, excuse me.
Okay, yeah, sure, buddy. This is not a player I would want the Bengals to take. And I was originally thinking about a player that I did want the Bengals to take, and that would be Ahmad Sauce Gardner from Cincinnati, a corner. I think he's awesome. However, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about this guy. after what he did to those dumb Wolverines.
Oh my God.
And that's got to be Kenneth Walker. I think everyone knows.
How did I not expect that?
Right? I think everyone knows about Kenneth Walker and what he's done for Michigan State right now, leading the country in rushing yards as well as rushing touchdowns. The guy's an absolute horse. I think that a great comparison when you're looking at the NFL right now, and I said this over the weekend, I'm like, maybe like a Lev Bell, but at the same time, Lev Bell went to Michigan State. Hard to not see that comparison. But I think
that's exactly what I was thinking.
I think the best comparison, honestly, that is in the NFL right now is a little bit better James Robinson, because James Robinson is not a fast guy. Kenneth Walker, he can get away from people, but really that's only at the college level. I think once it comes to the NFL, he's not going to be a speed guy. He's not going to be a guy that goes 80 yards to the house. Does he have the potential to? Sure, maybe, but he's more of a guy based off his vision, his ability to find the holes. So I love Kenneth Walker. He's been the heart and soul of this Michigan State team, the reason that they are sitting number 3 in the country right now. The one thing I did want to bring up, though, that I really didn't know until about 2 weeks ago, it's that Kenneth Walker coming out as a prospect, he was a 2-star on 24/7 Sports. When you look at 24/7 Sports Composite, he was a 3-star, but he was ranked 2,164th in the country, the 143rd ranked running back. So he ended up going to the only D1 college he got offered from, and that was Wake Forest. He was a decent little back there. I think he's got the leading rushing yards in a season for Wake Forest and Michigan State. So he's got 2 records at 2 different schools. So it's just a great player. I think this could be a guy where if he ends up taking home the Heisman, which at this moment I think he should, could he sneak into the end of the first round, early second round? Sure, but I think that right now, mid to late second round is where you're going to be looking at him.
Yeah, and I just want to pile on that real quick. So I don't know about like the whole rushing leader thing for Wake Forest. If that's the case, based on the yards that he has in his career, Wake Forest, that's kind of sad. I know they're not an unreal program, but still, as a freshman at Wake Forest, he had the 98 carries for 579 yards, 4 touchdowns, at just under 6 yards a carry. So like he came in as a freshman and was able to play well. That's a great sign for running back. And now he goes to Michigan State, who tailors the offense around him, and he's just been like dominant. It really is a clear sign of someone who was underutilized at his old school, gets a new opportunity, and is just bursting onto the scene.
Yeah, and when I was thinking of a comparison, when you were saying his name, I was like, who's he remind me of? Le'Veon Bell came straight to my mind, because Le'Veon Bell's one of those running backs where he'll stay in the backfield for a good 2-3 seconds, and then he'll have to hold it, and then he'll vision the hole, and he'll go up and get a good gain. That's exactly what Walker was doing against Michigan, and he was torching them. So if he's able to do that against a great defense like Michigan, I don't see why he couldn't do it in the NFL.
Yeah, I think he's very talented. One of the smartest running backs that's going to be coming out this year.
I mean, he's going to do it to a lesser extent. Like, he's not going to play at this level in the NFL. Like, that's not.
I could see him playing to the level of James Robinson.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, I don't want to predict anybody 1,400 rushing yards as a rookie, like, or all-purpose, whatever the hell it was. I don't want to just predict that, but the way he gets it done, 100%.
Do you think that he would be first-round pick in fantasy?
Depends on the situation.
Yeah, so let's say he goes.
And this is Dynasty we're talking about, right? Not redraft?
Yeah.
Because redraft, no way, but Dynasty.
Yeah, let's say he goes to like the Falcons or the Bills or maybe the Seahawks, teams that could possibly be looking for running backs, and he goes in the second, maybe early third round, or somehow goes in the first round, then yeah, for sure. But if for whatever reason he's going later than middle of the third round, or he ends up in day 3 somehow, which I don't think is going to happen, but if he does, and he goes to a team where it's going to, like, for sure locked in be a committee, then you might be a little more wary. He'll still probably find his way in, especially in our leagues. I don't want to say there's way too much, but there's a heavier emphasis on drafting that running back than most general dynasty leagues. So he'll find his way in that. But if you did like a mock draft, there's a good chance like there is 5 or 6 receivers alone that would be like ahead of him on top of 2 or 3 running backs that possibly could be ahead of him too.
Yep, I mean, I agree with that. And the thing is, As Mikey said, it does depend on the situation. So, I mean, if you go to New England, has the potential if Harris isn't playing, but if you go to somewhere like, let's say, Tennessee, because who knows what Tennessee wants to do, you're most likely not going to get most playing time because of Henry and that. I don't think Tennessee will take him. It's just a comparison.
Yeah.
And then my player is, you guys both took offensive players. I took a defensive player from the University of Georgia. This is my second defensive player from Georgia. That just shows you how good of a defense they got. And it's not Jordan Davis this time. I'm going with Nakobe Dean, linebacker out of Georgia, and he can even kind of play strong safety. So he is 6 foot, 225. He's a great he covers the pass so well, and he's a big dude, so he can come up and make a tackle. He's one of those great players that you can definitely develop, and I think if the Raiders drafted him, I would be on top of the world because this guy's a heck of a player. He plays hard, and he has a lot of potential because he has shown against the Florida, he made some great plays in the pass game or in pass coverage against, and he had the pick six, and then he had a great pass deflection. You are playing Emory Jones, but still, it was a great athletic play, and then he can stop someone in the run. So that is very good on what you want out of a linebacker. Not only you're a good run stopper, but you are a good pass stopper. So even though he's qualified as a linebacker, I could even see him being playing at strong safety. And having the Raiders take him, I would be ecstatic. What are your thoughts on Dean?
Yeah, he kind of reminds me it's a different build, but kind of like how Isaiah Simmons, when he was entering the NFL, like it was talked about, oh, this is this great versatile player. You can use them all over the field if you want to get creative with them. And then he gets to Arizona, and they just, for some reason, not really done that yet, even though he offers that flexibility. So as long as the team is willing to draft him and be open to using him in different packages, different situations, then, yeah, he can have a lot of success. But, it might be slow growing getting to the NFL if we want you to play exclusively linebacker. We want you to play exclusively safety. Whatever they want him to do. It might be, a little bit of growing pains just because those like hybrid type guys have those type of pains. They got to add on some weight, lose some weight, do whatever they got to do. But if they use him as a true just flex rotational piece, then yeah, that would be an awesome ad.
I think Nakobe Dean is going to be a linebacker at the next level just because he also is very good in the pass rush when it comes to blitzing off the edge. He's done some very good work there for Georgia. I think that this is a guy who goes sideline to sideline. He's got the speed. He has coverage. He has pass rush ability. Like, there's just so much to like about Nakobe Dean. I think it just comes to the point of he's got to continue to improve on his overall game because there's some small mistakes you can see every now and then, but getting to that next level, we'll have some good coaching, and hopefully it'll coach him up to be a really good top linebacker, kind of like a Roquan Smith or who's the guy from Fred Warner from the 49ers.
Yeah.
And Georgia always produces good linebackers. Like as you said, Roquan Smith, he's a great linebacker for a Bears. So seeing Dean go to the NFL level, it'll be very exciting, and I'll definitely have my eye on him in the future. And now on to our final segment. It has been a long episode, but we got to make the most of Mikey and Chase being here. So we're going to move on to our weekly picks. So I'm just going to say the matchup. You guys give me an explanation on who you think is going to win the game. All right. First, New York Jets versus the Indianapolis Colts. Who do you got, Chase?
I got the Colts in this one. As I said, Mike White's not going to reproduce that magic. We made that a little bit there. I don't think he's going over with 250s a line. I think he's going to be under that. So I think his Jets offense is really going to falter and struggle in this game. And the Colts are, not an overwhelming offense, but they're good enough offensively. Michael Pittman had his breakout last week. Jonathan Taylor's an elite running back. Carson Wentz has been pretty good at overall this year. Hasn't, boneheaded plays like he always does. Overall has been pretty solid. So I got to take the Colts in this one.
I'm going the Jets and Mike squared. Michael Carter and Mike White, they're going to both combine for 1,200 yards.
Yeah.
No, I got to go Indy. I think that the Jets, they found some magic against the Bengals, who came in very sloppy, but I don't think the Colts will do the same. Colts should take it.
I'm going to take Indy, even though I do think that the Jets or I did make that bet with Mike White, but I think he'll get over 250, but I don't think he'll have enough to get them to win. Next game, Las Vegas versus the New York Giants. I'm going to go first on this one. I'm taking the Giants.
Oh, there we go. Knew it. Beautiful. You're taking the Giants.
I'm taking the Giants. There's a lot going on with this Raiders organization. It's a big distraction with John Gruden and yet alone Henry Ruggs happening yesterday. I think these distractions are going to be too much, and I'm taking the Giants in this one.
Yeah, too bad Derek Carr is throwing for 300 yards in this win.
I'll take it. I'll for sure take it.
Bryan Edwards is finally going to get the usage he deserves.
Yes. And with Ruggs gone, it does not help because he did spread the field, but Bryan Edwards should be your clear number one now, and I really hope he is.
Yeah, I'm taking Vegas pretty easily in this one. I think Daniel Jones sucks, and that – hey, I thought the Raiders would have lost when Gruden got kicked out, but they have looked very good since he's left. So they've shown they can deal with a little bit of adversity. That's why I'll take the Raiders in this one.
And Zay Jones is
I'll take it.
And take that Henry Ruggs type of role. And Derek Carr's talked about how he likes Zay Jones a lot and likes him as a person and wants to see him succeed. So maybe he goes out there and proves that, all this time he's just been underutilized.
I hope so. Because Zay Jones last week he made a phenomenal catch against the Eagles. Beautifully placed ball. So I would like to see Zay Jones get more targets as long as I'm really excited to see Bryan Edwards get that working. Next game. Atlanta, New Orleans. Who do you got, Chase?
I got to take New Orleans in this one. I said on WNP I am not taking the Falcons or just today because last week I took them despite my own advice and they blow it for me. And I'm not doing it anymore.
You got Mikey?
Nolans all day. Alvin Kamara is going to have 70 touches.
Who dat? Better than who day?
Cap. Who dat? Who dat? Who dat?
Yeah.
Think I'm beat down the Saints. Who dat?
I'm taking the Saints on this one too. Trevor Siemian coming in, beating the Bucs, looking like an MVP quarterback there. Got to take Trevor Siemian and the New Orleans Saints. But yeah, Alvin Kamara definitely going to carry the workload.
Absolutely.
And Mark Ingram too. They gave Mark Ingram a lot of looks against the Buccaneers, and he was doing pretty well. So I'm happy to see Mark Ingram back in that offense.
Elite running back.
Then we got Buffalo versus Jacksonville. Mikey, I'm going to let you go first on this one.
Look, if Buffalo was starting the MVP, Mitch Trubisky, this would be a slam dunk. But because they're starting that fraud, Josh Allen, this is going to be a tough decision for me. I'm going to have to go with the Bills, and they're going to cover the spread too.
I bet you they win by 17. I mean, the Jags are just that bad. Yeah, but Chase, I got to touch on this. How does it feel to be fans of the two worst teams in the league?
It's pretty cool, It could be worse. It could be the Texans as well. But
I bet you the draft's probably always fun.
Oh, draft is great. You're always getting this high end talent, a lot of pieces coming in. So it's awesome. But it doesn't matter. The Bills are probably my third team anyway. So this is a matchup of two of my sleeper loves, and the Bills are gonna mollywop the Jags.
Yes, they are. Nah, that's why I'm taking Buffalo too. Josh Allen. Gonna be insane. I bet you the MVP does come in this game because of how bad they're gonna be beating them. He probably will come in the game.
He really might.
He might, and he might throw for a touchdown. So we'll see. Hey, a hot take right now: Mitchell Trubisky throws for a touchdown against the Jags.
All right, I'm finding somewhere where I can bet on that and put money on it.
Yes, you should. Imagine he wins MVP for that too.
Oh, I would love it.
Fantastic. I can't wait till the playoffs where the Bills are just killing whoever they're playing, and they have the Nickelodeon.
Mitch Trubisky comes in, throws 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, when the Bills are killing the Raiders and the Nickelodeon.
Hey, no, they're killing the Bengals.
No.
I mean, yeah. No doubt taking Buffalo. Mikey, I'm going to let you go again on this one because we have your team, Cleveland versus Cincinnati. Who you got?
Why'd you say my team and then started with Cleveland? Come on. Yeah. This is going to be a Bengals win. They're pissed that they lost to the Jets, and Baker Mayfield has been atrocious this year. They're also still without Kareem Hunt. Nick Chubb, even though he's going to be playing, he's still a little bit banged up. I think that the Bengals, outside of the Jets game, they have had a top 10 rushing defense. as well as top 10 defense overall, but they've been really good at stopping the run. That's how they beat the Ravens. That's how they'll beat the Browns.
Yeah, I'm going to have to agree with you on that one. I am going Cincinnati mostly because the Cleveland's got a lot of diversity right now with OBJ having a lot of drama in that locker room. It's not even OBJ's fault. It's Dad's. I mean, it's not going to be great. Not going to have OBJ out there to spread out the field, but no doubt I'm taking Cincinnati here, even though I think it will be a close game.
Yeah, and I've taken the Bengals every single game this year so far. So
that's why they have 3 losses.
We're 9 weeks in. No. And I'm continuing that trend. Like I got to go with the Bengals here. I think they're legit.
Yeah. All right. Cincy across the board for us. Then we got New England versus Carolina and the number 5 ranked Panthers.
And they're moving up to number 4 after this win. Go Panthers, baby.
Takes the Panthers. Who do you got, Mikey?
Did you really need to ask? I mean, I'm taking the Patriots all day. The Patriots are coming back off back-to-back huge wins, an absolute blowout against the Jets, and then beating a Chargers team they weren't expected to beat. While Carolina, they are just free-falling. I mean, they had a win against Atlanta, but is that really saying much? No, not at all. Sam Darnold still looks terrible. Give me the Patriots.
I mean, we have Mac Jones versus the less athletic Patrick Mahomes.
Facts.
Give me Mac Jones. I'm taking the Patriots.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll be right.
Sure you will.
And then we have a really good team who's actually been surprising me. Dallas versus Denver. Who do you got, Chase?
Dallas is going to bury Denver. Sorry, Derek.
Screw Derek. Denver, the Broncos suck.
Yeah, no one.
Who they beat last week? Who was it? Washington football team, who's like the most mediocre team I've ever seen in NFL history.
All their wins have been against horrible, horrible teams.
Just like the Dolphins. They're literally the exact same, but in different conferences.
Yep.
And what are the Dolphins? 1-7?
Yeah.
After they went 11-5 last year?
10-6, right?
Yeah,
Regardless, double-digit wins.
Yeah, still, it doesn't matter. Double-digit wins, and then you're 1-7. I mean, that's almost Lions' record, and that's pretty bad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mikey, who do you got here? Dallas versus Denver.
Yeah, I mean, I think that Dallas is going to win this. I hope it is somewhat close towards the end of the stretch. It's a shootout game because I've got CeeDee Lamb, Javonte Williams, and Jerry Jeudy. Hope to see some production from all 3 of those guys, but I got to go Dallas.
Yep, me too, because I just think that Dak Prescott's coming back. Even though, I mean, we have so many MVP quarterbacks this week. We got Cooper Rush. Who's the Jets? I forgot his name.
Mike White.
Yeah, Mike White, Mr. Just gonna throw for 600 this week. I mean,
you're gonna have David Blau next weekend.
Yes, throwing for 345.
I would love that.
I was at the Lions Thanksgiving game last year, and I remember the first play, it was like an 80-yard bomb to Kenny Galladay. It was awesome. David.
Yeah, good old days.
And then next matchup we got Minnesota versus Baltimore. I think this is going to be a closer game than people seek it out to be. Who do you got, Mikey?
Exactly what I said in the show.
I'm going to go with the better division, and that's the AFC, and the AFC North to be exact. So give me Baltimore.
I'm going to do the same exact thing. I think Lamar's going to come back because Lamar's Lamar. Might be biased because I have him and Mark Andrews on my fantasy team, but give me the Ravens.
3 for 3.
There it is.
Baltimore across the board. Then we have Houston versus Miami. 1-7 versus 1-7. The Toilet Bowl matchup. Is Tyrod back this week?
I don't know if he's actually playing, but he's practicing.
He's been practicing, yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to take it that Tyrod's starting, so give me Houston.
Ooh. Gross.
Give me Miami. I think Miami sucks, but Houston's worse.
I will also take Miami.
All right. There's my first upset.
That is a game I will not be watching.
Big facts.
I'll be watching whatever touchdown it is because it will be on Red Zone.
That's fair. So you'll see the 2 highlights.
Yeah. I'll actually see him twice because I'll see the touchdown montage at the end. So
Oh, yeah, good point.
they just do that because they got to show the Texans somehow.
Exactly.
And we got Chargers versus Philly, Jalen Hurts versus Justin Herbert. Who do you guys got?
So on WP today, I took the Chargers, and right now Justin Herbert was limited in practice this week, or at least today. But that does not change anything. He's going to play, and I'm taking the Chargers in this game. I don't know how. I can't pick the Eagles. The Eagles beat the Lions by a lot. Whoop-de-doo. Jalen Hurts still looked horrible in that game.
Yeah, Justin Herbert by far much better than Jalen Hurts. Easy slam dunk.
I have a hot take here. I think Justin Herbert is an overrated quarterback. It's not because I'm a Raiders fan, but it's just like he's inconsistent. Because he'll have 2 bad games, then he'll have 3 great games, then he'll go back to his bad game, and then he'll have a good game, and then 2 bad games.
Okay, Raiders fan.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Here's the thing. Last year he didn't have a single bad game. This year he started off the year with like 4
2 bad games.
Like he had like probably 4 of his 8 games he played for 7 games or whatever they are, where they've been like solid to good, and then the other 3 have been bad. So, last year, like obviously it was just a hot rookie year, things were going right, and this year with a little more adversity, new offense, things are a little different. So you're gonna have hiccups, and I'm not too worried about those hiccups. He has everything that I want out of a true franchise number 1 quarterback. We were high on him last year, going through the draft process for a reason. And he is definitely not overrated. If anything, he might even still be slightly underrated.
And that's the thing, because I texted Mikey when I was on the show like 2 years ago when I was up at State. I did my quarterback rankings, and I can rephrase these. I had Tua Tagovailoa. 2, I had Joe Burrow. 3, I had Jordan Love. 4, I had Jalen Hurts. 5, I had Eason. And 6, I had Herbert. I was not a fan of Justin Herbert coming out of college.
Hey, there's a reason that WNP is the place to go when it comes to draft coverage because
yes, I'll give you that. We do not cover draft well here. I will say that, and that is why we only have 1 segment on it. So
nice, fair enough.
I'm taking the Chargers though because I just think that Philly looks god awful in the past game. I love Jalen Hurts, but he just can't seem to get it going. And then Green Bay versus KC, we got Jordan Love making his NFL debut against an athletic Sam Darnold.
Thank you.
Who do you guys got here?
I mean, the athletic Sam Darnold's going to win this one, of course. Like it's Jordan Love and the Packers, and they're not winning. They weren't supposed to win last week without Devontae Adams in the lineup. They're not actually going to win this week without Aaron Rodgers in the lineup.
Yeah, I don't really want either of these teams to win because the Chiefs, they've just been so gross this year. However, I am going to be taking the Chiefs.
I want to take the Packers so bad because I love Jordan Love, but I have said I will never bet against the Chiefs, and I have to stick with that. I'm going KC.
Even after this year?
I can never bet against the Chiefs because, they can just go out and win 8 games in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, you never know with the Chiefs. I mean, athletic Sam Darnold he can be great, but, he can't be athletic Sam Darnold, so
I think I've seen enough this year to say this team is not a top 3 contender in the AFC.
Woo!
Yeah. I think the offense, it could be the number 1 offense at any point in any week, but when it comes to the defense, it is so bad that Patrick Mahomes literally has to be perfect every single game. So I am very confident in saying they're not a top 3 AFC contender for me.
I love that take.
Thank you.
Great take. Then we have Arizona coming off their first loss against San Fran, getting a victory over Chicago. Mike, you can pick this one since you're the Trey Lance hater, even though he's not playing.
Yeah, I mean, Arizona's going to absolutely spank San Fran as long as Kyler's playing. Hey, I wanted to see Trey Lance versus Justin Fields last.
Me too, dude. I mean,
and let me say this. Let me defend myself on your show, mister. I am not a Trey Lance hater. What I hated was all the hype he was getting. He was literally getting hyped up more than Trevor Lawrence, Justin Fields, Mac Jones, and Zach Wilson combined. And then we saw his one start. He looked very He just didn't play well. He underperformed, and I predicted that. I said that I think when he gets his first start, he's not going to be playing some crazy type of role. I think he's going to struggle a little bit, which he's still a young quarterback. I think he's got incredible upside. But the hype he was getting is what made me really upset and really go against him. But overall, I think he's a great quarterback, and I think that he could be a top 5 quarterback in like 5 years from now.
You see, I really wish that we did play the Bears, or why did I say we, that Trey Lance played the Bears, because he would have destroyed them. I mean, he would have torched them. He would have thrown for 5 touchdowns, because Trey Lance is just that guy. So I'm going to take Arizona here, even because Jimmy Garoppolo is playing. So give me Arizona. Chase, who do you got?
Yeah, Arizona. It's like if Kyler plays, easy win. If Kyler doesn't play, they still might find a way to win anyway. But I would assume that Kyler's going to play in this one, so it's got to be Cardinals.
Yep. And then Sunday Night Football, Tennessee versus the Rams. Probably the game of the week. It's going to be a great game. Who do you guys got here?
100% the Rams. If the Titans had Derrick Henry, maybe I would consider the Titans, but 100% the Rams.
One sec, before I pick my winner on that one, I just went and looked because I couldn't remember who Trey Lance played when he actually started a game. It was against the Cardinals. So if he started this game, it would probably look very similar. He had 51% completion rate, 192 yards, 1 interception.
No, he learned from his mistakes, though. He'll be good.
No, I don't think so. So that is obvious why they're going with Jimmy Garoppolo this time around. But when we're looking at Tennessee and the Rams, give me the Rams. No Derrick Henry means no wins for Tennessee.
Yep, I got to agree. I mean, with the addition of Von Miller, that defense is going to be even better without Derrick Henry. I think that Tannehill's true colors will show today, or this game. So give me LA. Then the final game, Monday Night Football. We have Chicago versus Pitt, the battle of the low-scoring teams. Who do you guys got?
Yeah, you got to go Steelers in this one. I don't feel great picking either one of these games. Like our teams, I'm not really going to want to watch this one too actively. I'll still watch it. It's Monday Night Football, but it's not going to be done in like a pretty fashion. It's going to be
like 16-13 or something.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to see Justin Fields have a really good game like he did this past week without Matt Nagy, but Matt Nagy's probably going to be back, so I got to go to the Steelers as well. Even though I don't want to and I don't like the Steelers, I think that they're just the better team at this point.
I'm going to disagree with both of you here.
Ooh.
I'm taking Chicago. I'm not known to be a Justin Fields believer, but
big Justin Fields believer right here.
Pittsburgh's horrible in my eyes. They're lucky to have the wins that they have right now. Give me Chicago. It's just that simple. I think Justin Fields won't have a great game, but I feel like their kicker will. So it will be like 16-13 this game. So give me Chicago.
When has that been said in the same sentence? Chicago and a great kicking game.
Okay.
That's almost as bad as Minnesota.
I didn't think about that. I didn't think about that at first, but you know what? He'll double doink it, but this time it's going in. That's how it's gonna go.
I like it.
Yeah, double doink in. As that wraps up Monday Night Football, and that wraps up the show, ladies and gentlemen. We went for a very long episode this week because we have to get the most out of Chase and Mikey being here, getting all their thoughts and everything. So I just got to give them a big thank you to being here. And make sure you guys go subscribe down their YouTube. Go give them a 5-star on their podcast apps. Go listen to their podcast most of all. It's a great podcast. Very good. It's where I get my inspiration to do these things. So without them, I would not be here. So I just got to thank you guys for coming on the show.
Appreciate you having me.
Yeah. Thanks for having us on. And we got to get you back on the We're Not Professionals podcast because we haven't had you on in a while. We're still working on our setup right now. So once we get that third mic, then we'll be able to have some guests, and you'll be one of the first. That's for sure.
All right. Sounds like fun. And you guys could stay tuned for that episode. As I said, make sure you go follow them. And we will see you guys next time.